Hello YouTube, I have another battle for you today. This time I'm using my Hail team, which was an idea that I got from one of my friends. So I really like Weather Stall and I gave it a try. So this is my Leech Seed Abomasnow lead. It's basically meant to take special attacks that it can resist or at least not be hit super effectively. But when he switched in his Rhyperior, I was a little afraid of taking a rock type move because it doesn't have much physical defense, so I switched in my Swampert, take whatever it hit me with. Unfortunately, it gets a crit, which was kind of a bummer, but I was seeking to avoid rock type damage, and he can't really hit me with any rock type attacks now. So I decided to go for rocks just because it's really useful on a stall team to be able to set up Stealth Rock. So he gets a superpower off. I knew I could live it, but I didn't live it super well, so I wasn't really too pleased about that. Now, I decided here to go into my Gliscor because I knew it could take a superpower really well if he decided to stay in, but he switches out, and he brings in a Starmie, and I'm assuming that it's going to be a Rapid Spinner. So I didn't really care about taking a Rapid Spin, but I didn't want to get hit by a Surf, because this thing is not especially defensive. Surf would just run through it. So I brought out my Walrein. Now, this thing is a badass. Basically what it does is it runs Protect and Substitute. So when he switches, I decide to go for a Substitute because I'm thinking that if he's hitting me with an Ice Beam, he's not going to be doing too much damage. And I knew at that point I could take a Thunderbolt. But what this does is it alternates between Protect and Substitute, so that on turn A it will Substitute and lose a quarter of its HP. Then in the next two turns, in the next turn it'll use Protect. It'll gain Ice Body and Leftovers, and then on the next turn it'll gain the same thing after it protects. Then I can use Substitute right again and go right back to only minus 25%. So he can't really do anything to me, so he decides to try and pressure stall me because Weavile won't be taking hail damage, so I can't stall him out like that. So I don't really know why he does this, but he goes for a Fake Out, and I knew that wasn't going to break the sub, so I just went for a Toxic. I was expecting something like a Low Kick or a Brick Break, and even then I would just Protect, but he gave me a free Toxic, which was not a good move on his part. Now, I don't know why this Weavile carries Brick Break. Most of them carry Low Kick, and Low Kick probably would have been better in this situation. But I went for a Surf just because I wanted to get its HP down. So then I'm kind of just chilling. I know he's going to not have very long to live, so I Protect because I know he's going to go for a Brick Break. Just stall out again. And then he doesn't die from the poison, which is actually really lucky. So I know I'm going to survive a Brick Break. I ran through damage calc. So I decided to set up a Substitute because I know I'll survive it pretty well. I go down to about a third, and he dies. So I basically have a free Substitute on whatever he wants to bring in. Now he goes out to the Starmie, and I'm starting to think that because this thing hasn't used Rapid Spin, that it is using some kind of choice item, because I'm not seeing Leftovers. And I ran through the damage calc, and I didn't think a Thunderbolt would do too much. I think I got that it would do about 80 damage off of the Rapid Spin set. So when this next Thunderbolt hits me, I was really surprised because it takes me down almost 210 damage, I think. And that was really a big surprise. So I didn't get a Substitute up, but I didn't really care because I have another turn of Protect, which I end up using just because Protect on this thing lets me regain so much HP. And it'll let me build up some toxic damage, so I just Protect again. I think he's choiced at this point with the choice specs or something like that. So he's locked into Thunderbolt, so he's not going to be doing anything to me. So I know his two attacks so far that I've seen are Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, so I got up to Abomasnow because Ice Beam won't really do that much anyways if he's not choiced, and decides to go for it for whatever reason. And Thunderbolt won't do anything just because I'm especially defensive and I resist it. So I bring out my Abomasnow. So his Starmie dies from toxic damage. I get a little leftovers. He brings out his Gengar, and I totally forgot that Gengar carries Sludge Bomb. Otherwise I probably would have protected or something like that. But I ended up taking a Sludge Bomb, and I survive it, which was really lucky. But I hit him with a Leech Seed, and so I get to basically hold on to some life, even though it doesn't really end up helping too much. So this turn, I decided to go for a Protect, just to try and drain him out with a Leech Seed and get some hail damage, try and restore some health before I switch out. So he takes the hail damage, I get the Leech Seed, and he goes down to a pretty low amount. So then I figured that he would go down after another round of hail, so I just switched in my Swampert as Death Fodder, because I knew this thing was going to die regardless of what I switched it into, really. He doesn't go down to hail, but that doesn't really matter to me because I just bring out my Abomasnow again and I have another Protect. So I use that, and he'll die from hail damage this turn. So I've taken out most of his team, or at least I've taken out Gengar, Weavile, and Starmie, and he brings in an Infernape, which is a big problem because I really can't deal with Infernape with this thing. It has almost no defense whatsoever, mostly just because most physical attackers in the game will kill it anyways. But I know that Starmie outspeeds Infernape, and Infernape doesn't really have a reason to run a Choice Scarf usually, so I didn't think it would be. So I decided to go for a Surf, and he switches in Heatran, which was kind of surprising. So I hit him with a Surf, and it looks like about a 2H KO, but I'm not certain. So here I'm waiting, and I guess from right here when he took hail damage after me, I should have realized that he's slower. But as soon as I saw the leftovers, I knew he wasn't Scarfed, so I decided to go for another Surf. And it ends up not killing him. It brings him down to a very low amount, but he uses Earth Power, which didn't really make sense to me. Maybe, I don't even know why that would have worked. So hail eventually just kills him. And from here on out, I pretty much just surf and sweep the rest of his team. So, yeah. Good game, Zohaib. Please subscribe, and thank you again for watching. Happy St. Patrick's Day.